There you go. I'm going to talk to y'all about how to become a team leader. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what is a team, team leader requirements, team leader formation, what you need to do to notify the brokerage system setup, how to set up your transactions moving forward, what kind of awards you can win, what kind of team leader awards and can members win, tips on promoting your teams and your members' growth and opportunities, final notes and questions. If you see anything interesting in here, let me know, okay? So we don't release the recording. Okay, what is a team? A team is two or more licensed individuals who are presenting themselves or marketing themselves as a team and applying all commissions to team leader caps, right? Because we have crew teams, which are accountability teams. Nobody's cap merges for one particular person. So you actually have to have two people working with the same cap. Team leader requirements. There are no requirements to start a team, but if you want to be a team leader, then you must know the rules, follow the rules, and be the example for everybody on your team. Your responsibility, this is what you have to do. You have to lead and coach your team, meaning that if you're bringing on new agents, you have to coach them in the way that the brokerage wants you to coach them, meaning they have to go through the processes, go through the class and attend. You have to focus on your team, building their branding, your branding, and help them market and build their business. You have to coordinate team logistics, meaning the numbers. So like for us, we have 6 or 7 people on our team. I don't do any of the numbers. I pay her extra, so she runs all the numbers. But initially, when you start with 1 or 2 people, you should be able to calculate your numbers. And communicate team status. So once a month, we run our numbers and we let people know, hey, we stuck this month, or hey, we're great this month. These are your numbers. You have to become a designated supervisor for Lucky Money Real Estate. So if you are a team leader, you're required to take a 6-hour broker responsibility course within 30 days of team formation. Also, if you are a coach or a mentor, we require it because now you're teaching other people how to write contracts, and now the liability from us goes to you. Okay. Please submit your course completion certificate to luckymoneyrealestate@gmail.com. We'll upload it into your profiles to make sure that you're there. Okay, team leaders. Maybe you want to set up your team dynamic. So as a brokerage here, you know that we vet people out. We want people that we can communicate, can coach, can work with, and we all get along together. So once you become a team leader, the success of your team is in your hands. Think about what kind of team leader you want to be. Eventually, I would like to have leaders to have some experience, take a few courses, be in compliance, and close at least a few deals before forming a team. It's up to you how you want to form your team. You can form your team based off one thing. Hey, I am going to give you guys leads and y'all are going to pay me X amount of dollars. Or I'm not going to give you guys leads, but I'm going to do all the branding and all the marketing. You're going to pay me X amount, and this is how we're going to run our business. I expect for you to close at least a deal a month or a deal every other month, or these are my minimum expectations. Does that make sense? So know how you're going to communicate. How are you going to motivate your team? What are you going to do for your team? Are you going to buy their business cards? Are you going to rebrand yourself? Are you going to print in magazines? Are you going to do mailers for them? Are you going to take them out to lunch? Or are you going to award them or reward them for doing good, bad, or mediocre? At the end of the day, it is your responsibility. For team formation, first you got to decide who the leader is, what your team name is going to be, your logos, team compensation. That is actually the hardest part for a lot of team leaders. So we have sample compensations that you have to do. At the end of the day, you need to decide, okay, I got a cap here and every team member costs me X amount of money. So you need to know how that math works so that way you can tell your team, okay, I am not going to bring on 20 people, because if I bring on 20 people and that's $3,500 a person, that's like another, I don't know, $7, $8, $9, $10, $15,000. that's not going to be worth my while if everybody's not producing. So you want to make sure you bring on producing agents. Otherwise, you're going to end up having to pay for them to be on the team. Your team roles and rules. What each person on the team is good at. Are they good at buyer rep, seller rep, or actual coverage area? You can have one person do all your transaction coordinator. It depends how big or small you want to have your team. At first, with 2 people, you might want both parties to even everything out. But once you have 4, 5, and 6, then you want to figure out, okay, what do we need to do with each person? Your marketing rules. You need to follow the company rules, but you need to follow your own rules also. You need to tell them, hey, Lisa says that you have to do this, but I want you to do this on top of that. So maybe you require extra verbiage, or maybe you require your logo to be on everything, and whereas Lucky Money does not. So you've got to figure out what you want to do. Set the expectations. Hey, in 6 months, if you're not doing fantastic, this is what we're going to do. In 3 months or whatever. So that way, in 12 months, when you look at them and like, I'm terminating your contract, then you go ahead and do that. Does that make sense? Business relationships. Know who you're going to do your business relationships, how you're going to divvy it out. So maybe you have a bunch of leads, and then maybe one of the agents has a whole sphere. How is that going to route into your business? If you're generating the leads, maybe they pay a little more. Or what if they bring in the leads? Are they still paying the same? Because some team leaders are like, I don't care where the leads came from. You're going to pay me 50-50 for everything. And some people might not be okay with that. So then once you figure all of that out, you do your team registration with us, and then I'll teach you how to set it up with Har and then set it up with Trek. What's the name of your team? Team name is the team name is a name used only by the team or a group of one or more sponsored sales agent or broker associate. This comes right out of the rule book. Team names must end in team or group. It can't end in properties. It can't end in realty. It can't look like it is actually a company. It has to have team or group. And then it cannot contain words as brokerage company or associates or similar terms. Tip, Google the name that you plan to pick to make sure it's not being used by another local team to avoid confusion. Choose a name that fits you and your team and buy the domain name. So branding and logos. So there are a lot of ways that you guys can do your branding and your logos. So these are samples of everybody. I didn't get the other one, but what you're going to want to do is say if you are using the Benoit Dream Team logo right here. If you're using the Benoit Dream Team logo and you're doing it on an advertisement, that means in the contact information, it needs to have Lucky Money Real Estate anywhere. And the reason why we use that very plain text at the bottom is so that you guys can take that logo and integrate it with any of your marketing. So right here, I got my name and I still have Lucky Money Real Estate at the bottom. I also have LM. That covers the size requirement. If I use Lucky Money Real Estate with the round logo or type out in text Lucky Money Real Estate, it still needs to be half the size of the Benoit Dream Team, which is actually pretty tiny. It doesn't have to be super big, but whatever the contact size is or the text size is what you're going to have to do. For Alpha Commercial Group, because we actually set Alpha Commercial Group up as a brand and as a DBA to Lucky Money Real Estate, Alpha Commercial Group can sit on its own without having the additional Lucky Money to it. Now, if you guys become a top producing team leader and you're like, I don't want to be associated with Lucky Money Real Estate anymore, but I want to stay with Lucky Money Real Estate. I want to advertise as my own group. Can I do that? Yes, you can. You either have to allow me to own 10% of you have to set up a company. I have to own at least 10% of your business, or or you'll need to get also $1 million worth of liability E&O insurance. Does that make sense? And I'd love to own 10% of your company. Team financials, make sure you give them team caps. So you got to tell them, hey, you're going to come on board. So as a team leader, you're at a 12.5 cap. Say like if you're someone like Edgardo, he after his 5 years, he caps out, right? I remove all the cap and he goes back to a transaction fee. Like he loves the support that we give him. And after 5 years, he ends up adding like 10 people. Well, his 12,500 is gone, but for every person on his team that gets added, or every person on your team that gets added, is $3,500. So say you have two people at $3,500. Well, you're not going to turn around and tell them, hey, to be on a team, it's going to cost you $3,500. You want to make a benefit off of it, right? So you can tell them, hey, it's a 12,500 cap, no cap, 15,000 cap, 10,000 cap, or whatever. And then if they're capping out, you're making an additional $7,500 a year. And then you can go beyond that and say, hey, if as long as you close a deal under the team, which is how our team is set up, they never ever hit zero. Their split is always 85-15. So you can do that, or you could tell them it's a 70-30 split or whatever it is. You create your base split, you create your team caps. And then now you say, okay, if I give you a referral and instead of paying 25%, I'll only take 20%. Or I can give you a referral and be a jerk team leader and take 50% off of everything. Not saying that you're a jerk, but because if I give you a referral and I take 20%, but I'm already taking 15 or 20%, that all adds up. Okay. Team payments, team bonuses. So last year I told my team, if you guys hit number 1 for the year, I'll take y'all on a vacation. And we hit team number 1 team of the year, and I took them on a very expensive vacation. So it was like an arm and a leg. It's almost like telling the entire brokerage, hey, if we hit number 1, we're all going to go on a cruise together. Number 1. Okay. But explain anniversary date. So if you started on December the 8th, and then you sign somebody in June, we don't look at the cap reset, at their cap reset date. We look at yours. So it's only the team leader's cap and their date that we look at. So when we tack on their $3,500 and they're paying and paying and paying, and then they cap out, and then December the 8th hits, then we look at your cap, we reset it, and then we have your team leader and each agent, and we add on to the cap. So if you're releasing an agent in the middle of June, you want to try to replace it. Otherwise, you got that gap that you got to pay for. But if you are hiring people, then and you get to your anniversary and you're looking and you're like, I got a lot of people, then you want to hurry up and remove them before your next anniversary comes, so your cap reduces. Does that make sense? Your cap can continue to go up during the year. It will never go down. But on your anniversary is when you want to remove all the people that's not working out well for you. Make sense? Team roles and rule expectations. There is a complete team roles and rules setup manual. If you want to kind of go through a step-by-step on how to set it up, I can get it emailed over to you or uploaded. In short, you got to treat your team like a business, be a great leader, and be a role model. Just don't expect your agents to do anything if you're not going to do anything for them. Okay. Make rules and adjust as needed, just like we're sitting here talking about, hey, when we're going to have lunch again so we can update the rules and regulations for the brokerage. It's the same thing for your team. You need to update those rules and regulations. Determine entry and exit plans for each member. I don't want you to be recruiting 10 agents out of my brokerage and then you doesn't work out and then I lose 10 agents because you're mad because I'm going to keep them all. So I want you to make sure there's a clear exit plan and a split off plan, because we don't want to be losing our agents because the teams aren't working out, and it happens. But if there's a way that we can fix it, allow us to fix it, because it's hard for us to bring in agents already. Have team requirements, meeting attendance, and goals. Your advertising rules. So make sure your name is registered as an alternate name. as well as your broker's name and their DBA is on every advertisement, meaning our DBA is LM Real Estate, LMRE, Alpha Commercial Group, as well as Lucky Money Real Estate. Okay. So any of those DBAs that we have on track, you guys can use that as part of your advertisement. So if you have your first name, last name, you can do comma LMRE and you're in compliance. If you do comma Lucky Money Real Estate, it is in compliance. A lot of people don't understand this rule, and a lot of brokers don't understand this rule. So they're always requiring you to have their entire full name or whatever. But if you do it properly, and we've done so, we've set up all the DBAs for all our extra names: LM Real Estate, LMRE, Lucky Money Real Estate. You can use our logo until you have a team. We don't recommend that you use anything except the bottom logo or a typed out Lucky Money Real Estate or LMRE for your marketing, because if you use anything else, it's going to clash with your marketing. So yours is like pink and black. You take a red or pink and blue. You take your red and black and gold and throw it in there, it's going to look really ugly. So we've set it up so it looks like plain text. So you can just drop in on top of a phone number, at the bottom of a phone number, somewhere where everybody can still see what brokerage you're at. And if they were to type in whatever it is, they can still find it. So if you go into Trek and type in LMRE, you should be able to pull up Lucky Money Real Estate, and that's what they want. This goes for reposting listings on your business page to your personal page. You need to make sure the branding is there. Make sure your pages don't imply that you're the listing broker or the owner of the brokerage. Brokers, if you are a broker associate, make sure your name is registered, or registered alternate name if an individual. If you are business entity name, or business name entity is on every listing. Yeah. So if I didn't register Lucky Money Real Estate with LMRE and LM Real Estate, y'all literally would have to type out Lucky Money Real Estate for everything. Does a logo count for a broker's name? No. But for advertising rule purposes, a broker's name is the only the broker's license name or assumed business name. So let me go back. The logo means that LM completely by itself. Okay, because that you can't really tell if it's an M or an L or an E or sideways E's or whatever it is. But if you use that logo and you type in Lucky Money Real Estate at the bottom, that would work. But the logo itself won't work. But at the bottom where we have Lucky Money Real Estate, that logo works because it literally is a text. Does that make sense? But if the logo contains one of those two in full or size of the printed name, will be considered compliant as long as the printed name is half the size of the largest contact information. So if you see Lisa Benoit is like a size 20, and then I drop the circle logo around, the text in the circle logo needs to be at least a 10-point font. So it needs to be a pretty good size logo to make it work. Yes, you understand. Yay. Now that you're ready to set up your team, you can move forward. First, you need to register your team with Lucky Money Real Estate. You need to update your list every time there is a change. Send it to me directly, and I'll get your team set up. What I'm going to do is you're going to have to send in the name, the start date, the team start date, and preferred email address where you want your contact. Your team name, so I can register with Trek. Team members name their start date and preferred email addresses. If a member leaves the team, make sure you notify us in writing. Otherwise, if your anniversary is about to come up, we're going to renew at that higher cap. Attach a team logo and a team leader's picture. Make sure you get a response. Check Trek to see if the name is registered. So if you send me a name registration and 3 weeks later, you didn't get it updated and then I didn't respond to you, that means I never got your email. HAR setup. You're going to also set up your team on HAR. Select the team members, update your profile, make sure your entire team has professional headshots. For contracts, get team credit. Use your team number for everything. So you should already set up a like broker information page. Add on that your team number is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then your team name on there. So that way, when people close out, and you know that somebody's closing out a deal, that it should be closed out also to the team. So that way you as a leader can get credit for it. And always and you can also do this 2 ways. So I do it a little differently. I don't care to get credit for my team stuff. So I go in as the co-listing agent, whereas you'll see other agents and agencies where you only see one person's name. And then when the agents underneath them leave, they get no credit for it. So you need to decide, how are you going to do that? Are you going to let your team have credit? Or are you not going to let your team have credit? That makes a huge difference to them. Set up a worksheet for your team for contract submission. Let me see if that works. No. So it's the old link. Demonstrate team features on HAR and contracts. So there's a couple of things on HAR. When they click on your name, it's going to show as all your reviews. It's going to show what your entire team's been doing, all the closings, all the areas y'all closed, and the faces of everybody. So make sure you set your profile up. And then on your contracts, make sure you're listed as the licensed supervisor. So I'm no longer the supervisor for your team members. You are now the licensed supervisor, but you need to make sure you take your designated class. And then on back agent, we'll set that up. We'll add you on as a team leader. And what happens is immediately then you can see every single one of your agents' transactions. So if they upload something, you can check it. You can check to make sure they're doing their splits right. And you can see theirs, but they can't see each other's and they can't see yours. Make sense? Huh? Yes. I just typed it in, but I didn't remember the new URL. It's like LM Lone Wolf. Okay. Yeah. I just changed it like 2 seconds ago because I didn't remember the other one. So who can win awards? Team leaders will represent the team for the awards, but we'll call out the teams too. Individual members can win Top Producers Award and team leaders. So the team leader produces a lot, they can get an award. Team members can also win the same awards. Both applies to office, hard tar, and NAR levels once your team is set up properly. That means you can go into any of the competitions in the year and nominations, and you can nominate your team or get your team to nominate you as the awesome new team leader, or go in and nominate us as the awesome broker or brokerage. And but you can win that on all different levels. It's just a matter of knowing when that comes out. Growing your team, you can recruit from Lucky Money Real Estate, or you can recruit from outside of Lucky Money Real Estate. You can post to the group pages for team openings. Let me know you're recruiting and I'll suggest people to you. Grooming your own agents. Mentor new agents with me or with Trisha in the coaching program. I'll tell you why. If you bring on a new agent, they're going to be required to know everything in the system. If you say, well, I want to coach them, then Trisha has to back away, Amber has to back away, and I have to back off and allow you to do it. That means you're literally doing all of our work and you're having to do all of that. You're having to show them how to do contracts, how to use the systems. So it's actually much better for you to, if you're recruiting your own agent, say, hey, you're going to come in, you're going to do a couple of transactions with the coaching team. Or what you can do is, and I've had agents do this, where they bypass, they bring the agents on, and I think they split or take a higher fee or something and say, hey, you're on my team, but you still got to get coaching. The split needs to go this way or whatever it is. And you make the numbers work. and their closings still count for the team as long as the coaching team gets paid. Does that make sense? So say you do a 50-50 split, or a 25% or a 30% split, then you know that you're gonna lose that 15% of it up top to the coaches. Okay, so now you're left with a certain amount, but it's all up to you. If you're going to coach your own agents, just make sure they're doing everything that the office is doing. We'll coach them, teach them, and that way you can build your business that way. It's all up to you on how you want to handle your incoming agents. If they fit your business model, you can add them to your team. Just make sure that you get along. It's going to work out well, and they all respect you. Growing your business. I'm trying to read the words, checking each slide to make sure they're good. So, we want you to, your team members may eventually want to become team leaders. Team leaders may want to become a broker, and a broker may want to have their own office. So just kind of keep that in mind and let us know, and we'll try to help you plan it. And that's it. We appreciate all that you do. Sounds good?